Hi, I'm Mandi Swain, and we are here today for another episode of Origination Boost.
I'm Laura Witte. I'm with Highland Mortgage, the Truth in Lending team at Highland Mortgage in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm one of the owners and loan officer.
Awesome. So how long have you been in the business?
This is my 26th year doing mortgages.
Awesome. And so was there a defining moment in your career that you're like, I'm going to be good at this. This is what I want to do for my career for the rest of my life. And, maybe start with how you started in the business. And did you start on the sales side or the ops side? And at what point did you know you were going to be good at this?
So I started as a buyer. I went to buy my first property. And I went to a bank, and at the time I was probably in my mid 20s and probably 25, 26. And the bank denied me. They didn't teach you about credit in the 80s. It wasn't like a lot of technology. And I grew up with a single mom who, was working to make sure we had food on the table. So there wasn't a lot of talk about, oh, this is your credit score. And this is, all this stuff. So I didn't know I had some credit issues. And I got, I kind of got denied, but the lady was just terrible. She treated me horribly. And I said, as growing up with a single mom, I was always like, I could just do this myself because I figure things out. And so that was a Friday. And then by Monday, I had a job as a loan officer so I can do my own loan. And within 30 days, I was their top producer. I signed like 19 deals and I think 9 closed because I had no idea what I was doing. But I realized that I wanted to, I loved math. I was a math lead. I love math and I love puzzles and I love helping people. So this is a perfect combination of those 3 things. And I saw a lot of things in this industry early on that were just predatory, and I felt very protective of people, and I wanted to be an advocate for people who needed to have a voice in our industry and also be a woman in our industry. Back then when you and I started, right, like we're almost 30 years, both of us, there were not that many women. So yeah, that's how I started.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so you started the mortgage space, and I didn't become an instant success like my first month out. It sounds like you crushed it month 1, closing 9 transactions. So it sounds like you started off pretty, just from the get-go, the success came easier to you. So when you started, how did you start getting those deals in the door? Did you work under someone that helped you, or did you just hit the pavement, or how did you do it?
No, the only job I've ever done in this, besides, be somebody's mortgage therapist and, all the other things we do inside the job. I've only been a loan officer since the beginning. I have not trained under anybody. I just started, moving towards that. But I guess I just didn't slow down enough to figure out, am I producing or not producing? I just kept moving. Sometimes a little too much. I think when you're early in this business, you don't have a good balance. So I was just always working. So, I think I had different levels of being a top producer from the beginning. In our business, somebody that closes more than 2 or 3 deals could be considered a top producer. But I think I did have some success early on. I just kept, I don't like the word hustling because it has weird connotations, but I just kept moving and trying to find where is my space in this business.
And so you connected with agents or your sphere, or what is your business made up today? Or even then, how did it evolve over time?
Sure.
I think I love originators, especially you and I call us old dogs. I don't love it because that means I have wrinkles, but whatever. In that time space, your business does tend to evolve and change, and from when you started to now, right?
I think so. There are some things that I still do now that I did then, be successful, which is obviously good communication, always, picking up the phone. But I wasn't afraid to try things. I didn't let fear or anxiety stop me. And Lord knows I have enough anxiety for lots of humans. So I didn't, I accepted, okay, I have this, but I'm not going to let it stop me from getting to the goals that I wanted. And I would set goals like, okay, I want to close 5 loans a month. I want to close 10 loans a month, 20 loans. Like I set realistic, what I thought were realistic goals for myself. So I did a mixture of a lot of things. I think at first I tried we're going to get the whale, we got to get the big agent. And then that didn't go well because I think back then, if you're not relationship based, you're only as good as your last closing, that cliche thing. So I put all my eggs in one or two baskets early on, and that was not a good idea. So I really learned to diversify big time. I mean, I had, referrals from all different sources. Agents was one of them, but I wasn't agent heavy. I mean, at the time, growing up in this business, I was probably 60-70% past clients. I really, I go out of my way, just leaving, like I say, no stone unturned for people. And there's a lot of people that I would think are, I have this motto with my team: there are no throwaway people. So I built my business a lot on people that were ignored, like just people that had bad credit, or maybe their loan amounts were too small, or whatever the case is. People would call and apologize and say, you probably can't help me. And I would take that as like, really? You're saying I can't help you?
Yeah.
And so 99% of the time, I'd like to think, I mean, more than not, I would be able to help them and figure out a solution. And I mean, in my company now, I'm known as the person that can solve anything. Like I was a Rubik's Cube girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, it's like into the games and stuff. So, and people's lives aren't games. I think people just I think, especially back when you and I started, it was like, how many points can I get on this person with bad credit? And it would disgust me, and a lot of them were males. I'm sorry, it's true. A lot of the guys, loan officers were males. Oh, I made 8 points. This person's credit was 550. Like, that's just disgusting.
Right.
So, I mean, I set what I wanted to make, which back then was low. I was making 1 to 2 points. That was like unheard of. Oh my God, you're only making that? And I treated people fairly. So I think the long explanation is I just, worked my butt off and was honest and gave it all.
Well, and I like the idea that, you're not going to quit on any of your clients. It's not if they can buy a home, it's just when. And if they're willing to do the hard work, right, then you'll help them get there. And I think what I hear you're saying is, you have a lot of empathy because of your experience when you very first tried to get your own home, that you have that and you bring that still, almost 30 years later to your business, where you feel like people need a chance. They need a chance to own a home, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think everybody deserves a home. And if they have the chance, they can. Like you said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So telling people they're denied was never my thing. It was like, you are pre-approved if you do this, and try to make it in positive terms.
Right.
Because some of these people were just so crushed, like, and I did, I mean, and I had traditional loans too, and I had a mixture. I mean, I think the thing is that, we can't just have one source or two sources. We have to have a lot of different sources of leads coming in at different times to create the pipelines that continuously feed our, or create the loads that continuously feed our pipelines. Right. Or else we're out there working and we can't service while we work. We can't work while we service. Like, I got off that hamster wheel, thank God, knock on wood. I mean, a while ago, and tried to create the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 6-month, 1-year pipelines. Like if somebody's, not going to buy till next year, okay, that's great. There's my loan for next year. Let me fill that pipeline. Yeah. I think people need to expand their thinking past 30, 45 days.
Yeah, you're saying the mindset of that is more transactional, right? Just turn and burn, turn and burn, turn and burn, versus building a business, a origination business that has sustainability, right? And correct. So you've gotten to that point where you have sustainability because you're looking at what opportunity you have, whether it's a client that's in contract on a build job or whether it's a client that can be ready in 6 months to a year. You're building that future business to get off the hamster wheel, right? I love that analogy. Yeah. That's awesome.
And then it also creates like loyalty, I think, with people. I mean, I just had somebody message me yesterday and say, is it time for me to refinance? And I can't believe, my first loan with you 22 years ago. So there are people that still use me after all these years, and yeah. So yes, you're building a relationship with these people.
I love that so much. How do you nurture it now that so you built these solid relationships with agents? It took time. You had to kind of decide whether they were going to be those top producing agents or what have you. And now you've built a database. How do you stay in touch with those folks so they don't forget you? Because sometimes I even talk to top producing loan officers and they're just recreating it every day and not really nurturing their database. And that's where I found like a lot of my success has come over the years, is just loving on the people that have given me my team the opportunity to help them with their home loan and just being, present with them. And so what do you do in your business to stay front of mind?
I think you and I are probably very similar. I mean, just kind of the nurturing various things depending on who it is. It can be a text every week, a phone call to some people. Everyone has different ways of responding and how they like to be communicated with, which I like to identify early on with people because it helps. The person's not emailing me. Have you called them?
Yeah.
And then they just pick up the phone because they don't email,
Yeah.
So that saves time and energy. But I think it depends. It's just different. There's people I talk to on Facebook Messenger. It's like everywhere. And then also we do so much support. We do caravans, open houses. We support for our agents, festivals, just all the things that they need for their business. And we do like little gifts, reminders, cute things, email stuff, like just a lot of different things, but it's all very true to who we are. So we're not trying to be somebody else, and we're also not pushing out of our comfort zone. Well, there's two comfort zones, right? There's the comfort zone you want to push out of because you want to like do better, be better.
Yeah.
And then there's a comfort zone that doesn't feel real or authentic to you. So don't do that.
Yeah, it's not received well. It's not received well.
Yeah. Like I think early in my business, I was like, okay, I have to dress this way because I'm professional and I have jeans on right now. I mean, I'm a jeans girl and I don't really dress fancy, and that's okay. There are people that do. Nothing wrong with either one. But find your people. The people that dress fancy are not my people because it's not me. And the people who are jeans people, that's me. Like it depends.
I think that's a really good point to listeners, is that you do need to find the people that fit you and your business, and not every client is going to fit you as a person, and you can't take that too personal, because it's just like friends and people in your life, that not everyone's a fit for your life. Just like, so I think that's good advice for loan officers is, find your people, find your tribe, find your agents that are like-minded to you. And not all clients are going to be blue jean clients. They may want the suit and tie, but you still have to be true to who you are.
Right. And you can do that. I mean, it's not so much the client that it's more the people that you're going to hang out with. I really like my referral partner. I'm friends with a lot of my agents and they're great people. And I just care about them and I want to help them, as well as other, referral partners, like my CPA. I really like that. Like, I like the people I work with. My financial advisor is a good friend of mine. I mean, it's your life. It's not like you're stepping on a set of a TV and then you go home and all the audience is still there and then you're home. Like, this is your life. These are your friends. Like, exactly like you would tell your kids, find your people.
Yeah.
So I think parenting and mortgages are very similar. I use that a lot. I use that analogy when I'm speaking on a panel or if I'm speaking at a conference. I use parenting quite a bit. And it's true. You tell your kids the same thing. Do your best, but don't do too much because you're going to burn yourself out. Get an A, but it's okay if you get a C,
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it so much. That's so funny. Well, people think that they may look at you and say, oh my gosh, Laura's had such great success. And and all of these amazing things. But tell me, I know for me, there's been times in my career that I'm like, okay, it's either personal or professional, that I've had to either pivot or power through to get through a challenge or overcome an obstacle. Maybe you talk about that for you. Maybe it could have been personal, or it could have been, something business related, like the pandemic, or the taper tantrum of 22, or maybe the crash for you. What was something pivotal in your life that you had to kind of power through to be where you are today?
I mean, I don't think we have time to talk about all the things. I was a single mom for 3 kids, 2 special needs. Most of my early part of the career, I got remarried, and my husband works with me now, but like, oh my God, lots of things. But I think I just, it's funny you asked that, because I just posted today about my experience during the crash. So I just had my daughter. She was a year old. Single mom, divorced. My son just got diagnosed with autism. Later on, found out my other son had autism, but not till later on, because it was just so much going on. It was just so crazy. And then the crash happened, and I owned my own company. It was just me and like 2 people. And I was the first woman loan officer in the state of Georgia to be number 1. And it was crazy. I was doing, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 million. And it was just me and my processor, really no assistant.
Mind you, 60, 70, 80 million, if you're listening, back in 2010, her average loan sizes were probably not what they are today. And so that's a lot of loans.
It was a lot of loans, and it was crazy. And I didn't understand what I understand now, which is like, get a great team. Like, I thought, I'm going to do all of this because I know what I'm doing and I can handle it. It's like, it doesn't matter if you can handle it or not. Like, get support. So I didn't really have that back then. And then the crash happened, and I tried to stay in business because I thought this is the right thing to do. And I got hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I had to short sale homes. I had to use like my retirement. I mean, I was broke. And I went and I had to rent something. I'm a loan officer and I'm renting, right?
Yeah.
It was crazy. So I rented for 2 years. I went to work for a bank. I worked my ass off to rebuild not just my business, but my life, because I wasn't a bank person. Never saw myself at a bank. So I used that time to really just get right with my business in my head, with the kid, like everything, and rebuilt. And then a few years later, I got out of debt. I saved up money to buy a house, got my credit scores back over 700, like all the things, saved money, had, all the things that I needed. And I met my husband, and became a blended family. We bought a house, like all the amazing things that come with when you keep pushing, when you don't give up, because it was hard. I mean, we were on I was like free and reduced lunch. My kids, like the cafeteria ladies at our school used to come hug me. Like, it was hard, but I kept going because I always believed that something better could be tomorrow. Tomorrow could be something better. I always believe in tomorrow. If today is just crappy, okay, today's crappy. You know what? Embrace it, accept it, let it go, because tomorrow is going to be better, or even tonight's going to be better, because life is just like that. You have no idea what can happen if you believe and you don't give up. What is around the next corner? So I think that I just, again, posted on that story and shared that for the first time. But that was a really hard time in my life that I learned a lot from. And then I was able to reconnect with a group that I had worked with for years, but they had gone and opened up Highland Mortgage. And I was still at a bank, and this was 4.5 years ago. And I had the opportunity to come on as an owner, and I've not looked back. It's been the best decision. So I feel like I've come full circle, because I was an owner, went through all this stuff, came back. Now I'm an owner again, and I absolutely love it. I'm exactly where I need to be and want to be. So I hope that was not too long.
No, I love it. I just love hearing your story of resilience, and for me, those things in my life, they give me a deep sense of gratitude for what I have today. I think maybe you would
Yes.
agree with that, that if had we not gone through that tumultuous time, or however you would say that, in our lives, we might
Yeah.
not have that same gratitude today for what we have today, right? And we
Yes.
might not be as
Exactly.
prepared for the future. And I think some loan officers just are, maybe you're living for today out there and you're
Mhm.
taking your paychecks and you're spending them all. My advice is don't do that. My
Yep.
advice is to invest, right? You would probably agree with that, because it's
Yeah.
hard. This business comes in waves, right?
It is hard, and you have to prepare and buckle, hunker down, whatever it is, for
Yep.
the
Yep.
wave. It does come in waves, and it's less wavy when you do the things that we do, because you're preparing, because you see the wave coming, and
Right.
you're like, okay, what can I do to fill in with these for my pipeline? Like, for example, when refis were down, okay, we got to increase purchases. Okay, refis purchases are both down. What are we doing here? We got to do equity lines. We got to do cash out debt consolidation. Like, there is always something to sell. If you don't have something to sell, then you can't, then you're not a salesperson. You got to have you have to have all the tools, and all the education is great, but you also have to have products. So wherever you are, if you don't have the products, you gotta move. You gotta have everything,
Yeah, you got to be
right?
able to. Yes, I agree with that.
Right,
You've got to have the products. Do loans get more loans, friends? And so
right,
if you have products that meet the needs of your client at the time that they need them, you'll
right.
win in the business, right? And I think
Yes,
that's fantastic advice. And be an opportunist when it comes to those things, and think
right,
outside the box, right? That's when that comfort zone kind of is the time to get out of it. Whatever you're
correct,
comfortable with today, shift, pivot, move.
right.
Because yeah,
Yes,
I agree with you
yeah,
that you can make money no matter what the market is, and I agree with that too.
yes, exactly.
You just have
Yeah,
to you have to pay attention and be willing to
right.
change, right?
I would absolutely. And the word pivot, it was used so much during during COVID, but it's so true. It's an accurate word. And I remember in 23, which was probably the hardest year in a lot of people's
Yes,
like career. It was just
yes.
so hard. And I was speaking at the Mortgage Girlfriends conference, and to sharing my story. And January, February was just crap. It was just terrible. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening here? Never saw a market like that. And I thought, well, this is not what I'm not going down like this. That's what I said in my head. So I'm going to figure this out. And my husband and I sat down and are like, what can we do to pivot? And we had one of our best years in 23. And then in 24, we had a better year. And 25, my year is even better. Like, you're constantly pivoting. It doesn't matter what the market's like. Every single market's different. You have to constantly pivot and constantly change and reevaluate. Don't get stuck thinking that you know everything all the time, because that's not, our business is just full of change, which is why it's so exciting to do what we do. It's always
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah, yeah, you never get
Yeah.
bored. I'm like you. I never get bored. I'm always a student
Yes.
and learning, and I think
Right.
that that's really good advice too. Do you sit down with your team and do a business plan every year, kind of evaluating the market around you, and figure out what
Yes.
you're going to do next year? How do you kind
Yes.
of do that with your team?
Yeah, we do. My team, I love my team. We have our team steak dinners. Everybody loves steak, and we always trying to find new steak places to go to. That's just kind of like our thing.
Thing. Yeah.
But we sit down, we have like food, and we evaluate and reevaluate, like, even referral partners. Who is this person worth our time? Is this somebody that we want to continue? My husband tells me this all the time, and I do believe him. It's hard because you want every loan. I'm so competitive. I want to win every single loan.
Me
But
too.
sometimes it's okay to not win every
Yeah.
single loan,
Yeah.
because that one loan might suck the life out of you.
Yes. I
And
know. I feel you.
yes, it's so hard to decide. And of course, you want to treat everyone with the same respect. It's not about that. There are people that they just want a deal, and they don't care, and it's not relationship based.
Sometimes if you give it all away and you take a variance and waive all your fees and all the things, all you're going for is heartbreak, because those people that took from you and took and took and took and took don't see your worth. And they're going to continue that all the way to the finish line. So sometimes you're right. Sometimes your first loss is your best loss in that case. You might be being blessed in your life by not having to do that loan or helping that client do that loan, right? But I'm with you. I'm competitive too, and I don't like to lose. I'm like, dang, I don't love that,
Yes. And I said that today, going back to the post, which I just shared with you, was about the crash, was there is success and failure. There is success in failure. There's so many things to learn from it, and so many directions you can go with just that statement. I think like you said, be a student of life, basically. I mean, if you continue doing that, you will always do better. You just will always do better because you're staying open, you're being curious, you're questioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. So what are some non-negotiables for you, for your direct team, things you make them do, whether it's outbound calling or touching base with leads or agent communication, or what are some non-negotiables for your team that you need to do in order to succeed?
Yeah. So response time got to be immediate. And if not, then you have to let them know when you're going to call back. I do the same thing. Like somebody responds or somebody says, I was referred to you, but thank you so much. I can't talk right now, but I can talk at such and such time. Communication. And inside that communication is also important to be very clear and precise and intentional with your language, not just like, hi, your loan's approved, see you later. Just try to be intentional. Never ever use mortgage lingo ever outside the mortgage company, because people have no idea what LTV, DTI is. And then some old school stuff, like I'm the kind of person that pushes my chair in and wipes my table down when I get up from eating. Like in a restaurant, like if I'm eating at somewhere, I try to put my cart back. I don't always put my cart. I put my cart somewhere where no one's going to hit it. But just to be the person that's polite and use like a good email, like be appropriate by email, like good afternoon. Use the person's name. I hope you're well. Thank you for your email. I just feel like people don't do that. Like people don't be too wordy, but be like respectful and polite. Like same thing I tell my kids. Like it goes a long way. It looks people in the eye when you're shaking their hand, things that I think are like old school but shouldn't be old school. It should be what people do. So I just feel like that makes people feel seen and heard. And I think that's what people want in any business. So
do you market your team? Do you market as a team, or do you market yourself in your town? How do you market? Whether it's print ad, or whether it's emails, or whether it's to your customers. How do you market yourself or your team?
All of that. I mean, I market myself and then I market my team. Like it's all of it.
All of it.
I've done ads here and there in local papers, but not really, ads. I mean, more.
But are you the center of those ads, and then your team, you're the rainmaker, or do you have a marketer on your team? How do you do that?
So my husband does our business development and marketing. He's brilliant at that. I'm great at originating. It's two completely separate jobs, and so he took over that many years ago, and he's fantastic. So he does.
He's the shake your hand, kiss babies, get out there, lunch, golf, all the things.
All the things, yeah. And I'll go to closings too, and I'll do the events. I'll speak at places, but he's really great with, putting stuff together to make it look good, and social media posts and stuff like that. So I think, for loan officers, like, how much money do you need to spend on marketing, that kind of stuff? That is a big question, because agents will ask you for stuff a lot, and you have to really be choosy. Every year, sometimes twice a year, Mark and I, my husband and I, will sit down and with the team and say, okay, who is our top 20? Who's our top 50? Who's our top 100? And these are the people that get attention.
Right.
And you have to keep reevaluating that, because you also want, like, I'm a giver. I want to give, but I also don't want to be used. And it's not
Right.
about giving to get, it's about
Right.
a relationship.
Right.
So if an agent asks you for $200 for a caravan, okay. If you want to
Right.
do that, sure, but evaluate who you're getting into business with.
Right. Right. Well, you only have so many bullets in your gun for time or money, right? And I think
Exactly.
that that's really good advice to make sure that your time and your money is spent at your highest and best output of opportunity. And you're aligned, and your business partners, that when deals go sideways, which they sometimes do, because we can't condition for crazy, because we'd like to, but we can't. When
I
deals
love
go,
that. You can't condition for crazy.
yeah, when deals go sideways, which they sometimes do, and you need to be able to pick up the phone and confidently be honest with the agent on the other end, that's best suited for when you have a good relationship with somebody. If they're going to lose their mind, and they're probably not the best option for you, because your stress level just went through the roof and you missed opportunity on 3 other deals because you can't confidently sell anymore. You don't get on the phone and talk to somebody else because you just got your face ripped off. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, that resonates a lot with me. And I think that sometimes I see loan officers just get pounded by the relationship that's not healthy. You wouldn't stay in a bad friendship like that. I mean, a friendship you wouldn't stick in if somebody treated you that way. Why do it in your business? There's lots of opportunity out there, right?
Right. So much opportunity. And if you're stuck with something that is not good for you, not making you happy, then you're not seeing all the opportunities going by you, and you're missing it because you're so focused on this, negative crap. So lots of opportunities out there, always. In every market, there's opportunities. And the ones that are successful are the ones that are seeing and seeking out and identifying those opportunities, and sometimes also creating those opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I love that so much. Okay. So on your tough weeks, how do you stay motivated it sounds like you're like me. I mean, I call it resetting my day. If I have a crappy day, I will go home and I'm like, lick your wounds. And then I go back the next day. Right. So I think that, you kind of mentioned that. So how do you do it? What's your thought to get through?
Yeah. It depends on how bad the day is. But, I don't know. I'm looking at a poster on my wall of Rocky. I grew up watching all the Sylvester Stallone Rocky movies. So same thing like you just said, like you go home, you do what you have to do, lick your wounds and come back fighting. I mean, that's kind of the way I grew up, where, again, going back to growing up with a single mom, and been working since I was like 12, 13 years old. I mean, we all had to pitch in. I'm not afraid to work, and that's normal for me. So I think that you just, you want to acknowledge you're having a bad day. And so stay in bed, watch whatever TV show makes you feel good, cuddle with your dogs, and then just take a deep breath and let it out, and know that you have a purpose in your life. And if this is the purpose that you chose, then this is where you need to be. And that's been the biggest thing. It's really been the biggest thing. It's like finding what your purpose is. And also, you don't have to have just one purpose in life. But if this is your purpose and one of your main ones, for me it is, it's not hard to get back up, because there's people that need you.
Right.
So
yeah, I love that. I love that so much. So do you feel like there's one major source of your business, or do you feel like you get it from lots of different, because we kind of talked about the buckets. Do you feel like it's from multiple buckets, or now you're seeing mostly your database, and do you track that kind of how much percentage of your business comes from each bucket, so to speak?
Yes, we have ways of tracking that, and we look at that throughout the year, but most at the end of the year. But yes, I have multiple buckets. I try to do a mix of past clients, and I don't call them past clients. They're just clients. They're not past. They're just clients, your clients and your agents, and then whoever the referral partners are, as well as if you live in a community and you're not being part of that community, then that's a waste to me. That's a shame as well. So I'm part of like my community here, which I really love, just absolutely love the schools, the people, the neighbors. So I think people can see that, and I'm active in the community, and the
How many
schools,
people, how
and
many people live in your town or
oh
your
my gosh,
area? I mean,
300,000, 400,000. I mean,
also pretty big for your
we're
area.
like a suburb of Atlanta, but we're a
Okay,
city. Like we're urban. So my
gotcha.
house is 2 blocks from like the square and all the coffee shops and bars and restaurants are. So we have a nice walking community. People are outside talking, walking, with each other. Some of my neighbors are good friends. My daughter, all my kids went to the school here, so people know me, our face, and then also I have a very strange love for fall. And when COVID hit in 2019, I love pumpkin patches. Like I love fall more than a human should. And I did a pumpkin patch on my front lawn. My husband and I did it on our
Oh
front
my
lawn.
gosh.
And now we're known as the Pumpkin House, and we do it every year and in October. And people bring their kids and take pictures, and it's just like really cool. And it's not,
Very cool.
and I
Yeah.
just do it as a neighbor. Like people, I feel like you don't have to have your business card on your forehead. You don't have to wear your name tag. People know if you're doing it right and you're on social media, people know what you do for a living
Right,
for the most
right.
part. So I don't have signs in the yard. It's not about that. It's about giving back to the community and enjoying the fellowship of that community. So
Well,
I
and I think you bring up
think,
a very good point. You're not going to find loans just sitting behind your computer. You've got to be out. People have got to know you as a person. They've got to relate to you as a person. And your pumpkin patch allows them to do that. And they also know who you are. But you didn't tell them, hey, come get a home loan. You weren't
right.
selling home loans. You're just being a good person in your neighborhood and they know you, right? And
Yes.
I think being famous in your town looks different for many people, but you can do that, and you are, and you became famous in your hometown because you put a pumpkin patch in your front yard. I think that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I love it. I love seeing the little kids, and my kids are older,
Yeah,
late teens and 20s.
yeah.
So I love seeing the little kids, and I'll have cookies on the porch for them. And so it's really nice. So that just goes back to doing what is authentic to you. So at some point it stops feeling like work. I mean, there's always
Yeah.
going to be an aspect to work, but it stops feeling like work and you're just doing stuff you enjoy. I mean, is it possible you can enjoy life and make money and do it at the same time? It is. Yes. Is it always going to be fun? No, it is not always going to be fun, but it's always going to feel I always feel like you said, going back to that gratitude, like just even in the worst of times, I still have that gratitude. It's still there because of my life and where I came from. The fact I have food, my kids are safe and healthy. Whenever I start spiraling and going down, I take stock. I take stock of what am I grateful for. And I know it sounds like so cliche, but I do. And it works for me and it
Yeah.
helps calm my anxiety. Are my kids safe? Is my mom safe? Are my dogs safe? My husband, do I have food? Are the bills paid? Like all these things.
Yeah.
See, and now I'm just telling them, taking a deep breath. And that's, I think, answering your question, how do I get back? And there's people that don't have that, right? So
Yeah.
how can I
Out
help those
in with the
people?
good air, out with the bad, friends. In with the good air, out
Right.
with the bad, and find gratitude that you woke up and put your boots on the ground this morning, because some people didn't get that opportunity. And
Yeah.
I think that's great life advice in general. I think some people forget to find just gratitude in the small things, right? That they got up and had a
Yes.
spot to brush their teeth, or were able to take a shower, or what have you. It does allow you to simplify and find gratitude in small. And
Yeah.
if you can do that, then it helps you get
Yeah.
through hard things. I think just good
Yeah.
life advice. I love that. I love that
Yes.
so much. I love it.
Yes.
I'm glad you shared.
Thank you.
So advice for other LOs. If you had to start from scratch today, what would you tell somebody that was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in the business.
I would tell them everything I just told you. And I would say to first, people talk about mindset and beliefs and behavior. Those all have to align because you can spin your wheels and they call 100, 200 people. But if you don't believe what you're saying and what you're doing and who you are and all this stuff, I mean, it's not about having doubts. Everyone has doubts, but it's about being congruent and aligned with what you want first before you go out and you call 7,000 people and you get one phone call back, because people can sense that. I mean, you got to start from that place, and then you got to hustle, you got to work, you got to keep moving, you got to keep growing, learning all the things.
You're going to put a lot of hours in, friends, before you see the product of that behavior. It takes time to see the product and the fruits, right?
It does take time, but if you don't give up and you're certain you're not going to give up, I mean, it's like, what is it? The one with the most flexibility always wins. So if you're that person, I mean, you're just not going to give up. I remember early in my career, I would call agents and say, I know you have lenders you work with. I understand that, and I respect that. But you and I are going to work together at some point, because I'm in the community, you're in the community. So I'm just calling to say hi.
So you know my name, so you have my phone number, all the things.
You know my name, and by the way, I do this loan. I do a bridge loan. I do this. Oh, I got this special product. Let me know if you're interested. That has opened so many doors of just like taking the pressure off. Like,
I love that. I love that idea that you just called them and said, basically, I am going to be a mover and shaker in my town. You're a mover and shaker. We're going to cross paths. I want you to know who I am. I want you to have my phone number. I love that. That's a great way to call agents. If you're hearing this, that's a great intro that Laura just gave you, a great tip, I think, for
thank you.
I think that's good advice versus just, I'm just checking in. I'm just checking in,
Right.
You didn't expect my call today, but I am new to this town and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I want you to have my phone number, because when you see my name come across, I want you to know that I'm a real person, right? I love that. I love that so much.
And it also takes kind of, you got to have balls, use my language, to do that. So people take notice. But if you do it in a way that's not cocky and arrogant, it's more like, hey, I'm here, you're here, and I'm just saying hi. Like, be respectful, be nice. People are
humility goes a long way too. Yeah. But directness and politeness also, like you said, are very critical to advancing it in your career, and how you handle situations is also allows for longevity, right? Because there's a lot of situations you want to, maybe not handle as well, but you have to take a deep breath and regroup and learn how to deal with things. I think that's really awesome advice as well. So in your career, when we retire, what will you be most proud of? Just the number of clients you helped, or never saying no to somebody, or?
I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and my daughter's now in college, but like today I went to a closing and one family was retiring and the other family was just starting out, and that family brought their mom to live with them and they bought a duplex so that their kids could be raised with their grandma. Oh my God, it was just like so beautiful. And then this past weekend I went to an open house with a guy who's selling his house because his wife is sick and they're still married for like 40 years. It's just like the whole circle of life thing is so beautiful. Also not beautiful sometimes, but mostly beautiful. It's emotional. It's a lot. And today I got a call from a lady whose daughter needs some treatment and she's taking an equity line out. I mean, if you don't think you're changing lives in this business, then get out of the business. This is really an emotional thing. This is people's homes, and when people take money out, it's usually for something. It's not just, hey, I'm just get some money out and go gamble. Maybe it's that, but this is like thinking back about all the clients that I've helped, the lives I've touched, the people I've helped, build independence. There's people that have bought homes for me that retired and just used their equity from their rental properties. There's people that don't want to do that. They just want a home for their kids to go to school. There's so many stories. I love the stories. I helped this woman take money out of her house so she can get pregnant with IVF, which is so expensive. And she got pregnant and she's like, you're the reason had this baby? Like, I don't think so. I don't, but not that
I was not totally right there with you, but
wasn't
yeah.
right there. I mean, it's just like all the stories. I get sucked in, and my team like kind of jokes like a joke, like not a joke, but like it's funny because they're
They're like, Laura's going to listen to the entire
the
story
entire
and
story.
all of the things.
I talk to every single client. I don't care how big I get. I talk to every single client. I want to know what's happening, what's going on, how can I help? And I do get sucked in, and I become like their champion, like their advocate to try to help. So yeah, I think that's what yeah.
Well, you're a beautiful human. It's my absolute
Thank
pleasure
you.
to know you. Have a friend in Georgia.
Thank you.
I have some other powerhouse friends in Georgia that are ladies, and I just love seeing smart women in this business win that are also beautiful humans that have a grounded sense of who they are and want to see others excel and be amazing. And hence the reason I wanted to share the book with other originators, because your story will impact somebody deeply and help them in their career. And so I'll pay it forward by your involvement and sharing your story. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It was my great pleasure to have this hour with you. And anyways, I'm glad to have a new friend.